An African-American parent is suing the Los Angeles Unified School District, also known as LAUSD, claiming a cotton field was set up at an elementary school to teach students about slavery. It happened at Lawrence Band School in West Hollywood, California. Rashonda Pitts says that her child experienced emotional distress as a result of the project that took place back in 2017. Pitts says the teacher said the project would help students gain a real-life experience like what enslaved African people endured. Pitts says that she noticed the field when she dropped her daughter off at school. School district officials have released a statement saying it regrets the project as it was construed as and culturally insensitive to the students, and we could not agree more. I will just speak for myself here. We've talked about cotton projects in the past, and as a resident of Los Angeles, we've talked about it in other states, smaller states, but it's much more different when it is in your backyard. LAUSD is the second largest school district in the nation, and so for something like this to kind of happen on our watch here in Los Angeles is very disheartening. But what's more important is that this took place in 2017. We're talking about this happening in current day. This has been going on for a very long time. And this mother here, she says that she has the daughter now has uncontrollably anxiety attacks, depression again, and thinking about this cotton project. And it just makes you really wonder, who are you for this teacher to think that you are the person to give a real world slavery experience in 2017, years after slavery has been abolished?
Listen, y'all, so like as you said, this hits home a little closer because it's in our backyard. My son attends LAUSD school system, right? And so the mother says she was dropping off her child. She noticed the cotton field and she wanted to talk to whoever's in charge. The assistant principal tried to tell her that the class was reading the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. And in the book, he talks about the cotton field. And so they thought it would be a good idea to give the kids some real life experience about the cotton field. But if you've ever read Frederick Douglass or you know anything about him, I mean, his life is all about self-determination, never giving up, education. He taught himself to read and write. He was an abolitionist. Like, there are just so many other things we could have pulled out of that versus picking cotton. And so, I don't know why they thought this was a good idea, but I do commend this mother, this parent, for holding them accountable. And we do so many stories like this. And so it begs the question, if you were another race, let's just say, you never hear of a school recreating a concentration camp and telling Jewish people their ancestors went through this, and so let's see, how you feel about it. They never do that. They only do that to black people. But why is that?
You know what? I'm going to speak on it for a second. I agree with you. You both have very valid points here. Now, we've also had stories in here where the teacher just had cotton within the classroom where he wanted you to touch it and feel it, and the thorns and things of that nature. And some people are not totally happy with that. There's different levels of how you can teach this. I do understand that, but we don't want it to get to the point where it does disturb the students and then it disturbs the families, because I really don't want it to get to the point where they start making it, well, maybe we shouldn't teach about black history and slavery because everyone gets to feel a certain kind of way about it, or they are starting to feel upset or it bothers them. I don't want to not teach it. I don't want to get to that, but this was definitely to the extreme. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off, Romeo, but to answer your question, Mimi, is as a marginalized community, we would never do that to another community that we understand that they went through issues like that. That's why we would never do that to the Jewish people or to another, again, marginalized community, the trans community, any other community. We would never do that. But you have white Americans who did not have to go through their ancestors, and not that all, because there were some, I'm sure, some white Americans who have lineage who can say, my ancestors did go through this, but for the most part, white Americans did not have the same experience that we did growing up, so they don't understand what it is like to be marginalized in America. So that is why they think it's okay to pinpoint the black community and other communities and do this to us.
Yeah. And like I said, the autobiography of Frederick Douglass, Soulmates, if you haven't read it, pick it up. It's a great book. There's so many themes throughout this book. Picking that one to focus on just shows how small-minded this individual was, and how he basically, as you said, the child is having emotional stress, scarred these young children in elementary school for a really long time.
That was very extreme. You're right.